All right. I want to make this video about something that happened to me yesterday, based on something that I was learning yesterday. I was learning yesterday about fractals, and since I was learning about fractals, I discovered that a lot of, first and foremost, a lot of what we experience is is not a coincidence. Um, with that being said, we we know or we live in a way that makes it seem like we don't know things that we actually do, and we encounter things for a purpose, and it's never a mistake. Whether it's simply hearing a phrase, or for myself personally, clicking a video and seeing something about fractals. And so yesterday I was learning about fractals, and I was actually, I didn't intend to learn about fractals. What I clicked on the video for, and what I was intending to get from the video, was to learn about 0 point and 0 point energy, because I never knew what 0 point was, but I've heard the phrase before. So in watching the video yesterday, I learned that we are fractals. We are a representation of a fractal, and the fractal or fractals are present everywhere in nature. Not only is the fractal present in nature, it is present in the universe, because entire galaxies are a fractal. And what a fractal is, well, what it can be represented by is basically the phi ratio. The phi ratio is represented as a spiral. If you ever seen a spiral, think of a seashell. It starts off like really small, like a really small curve, and then it curves outward and gets bigger as it curves outward. And it's present everywhere in nature. And as they say, as above, so below, as within, so without. So, one thing that I learned from the video, and I kind of made a connection with something that's present inside of us, is, well, I learned it from the video, but it made more sense after I heard it from the video, is that the universe is a single black dot. And it's, I want to say they said it was like a really small black dot, which is kind of interesting if you think about it, because if the universe, the entire universe, everything that you see when you look up in the sky is just a single black dot, can you imagine, like, wow, that's mind blowing. Like, it's a single black dot. But what I wanted to say and what I wanted to tie into was the fact that we have a single black dot inside of us that is almost a reflection of the universe. That single black dot is the pineal gland, or what some people will call the third eye. Because, as again, I mean, as within, so without, as above, so below. Since you have a black dot inside of you, and the universe is represented as a black dot, you yourself are living, walking universe. And more to that, or to add to that, everything inside of you is projected out into the world. And that's another thing that was in the video, was that I don't know if this was in the video or if I had seen it before I watched the video, but it had to do with like the universe being like somewhat of a hologram. I'm pretty sure people have heard the idea that the universe is just like a hologram. But as I was saying, that we project out. Like everything that we see in the world is a projection of things that we experience on the inside of ourselves. Just like we experience emotions, and we experience thoughts, and we project them out into the world. Like everything that we experience is an interpretation of things that go on inside of us. Just like, or for example, when you interact with people, you don't necessarily view people how they are. You view people how you perceive them. Just like that, which means someone else can perceive the exact same person in an entirely different way. And that's that's what I got from the video in a way. But even more than that, like we are all connected. Everything is connected without exception to anything. Like every experience that you experience is connected in some way, shape, or form to something else. I mean, it may have some degree of separation, but everything that you experience in life, in this world, is connected to something else. And there is no separation. Separation is an illusion, as many things are. Just like, as many things are, like religions, um, like history itself. Like, there's no separation of history. I mean, we have different accounts of history, but there is no separation in history. Like, there's no difference. There's no difference in what actually happened in histories. There's a difference in the stories or the interpretations of historic events. But thinking about fractals. Oh, a part of the video is you can look at a fractal at any point and see, I want to say, like, I can't remember the exact way they put it, but it'll be like the exact, I want to say the original part of the fractal, like what started it, but you won't necessarily be at the origin, if that makes sense. You will see the original shape that it makes, and you can be at a different part of the overall structure. It's just a continuation of what already is or already has happened. That's just like it's just like time itself. Like time doesn't necessarily stop. Like you exist or you can exist in many lifetimes and live the same, like at your core you could be the same person. And as like time goes on, you may end up in a different place, in a different area, but you don't necessarily change in that way. You're always basically the same or similar at your core. And something I've learned is that we are not good or we're not bad. It's nothing like that. It's always great to stay neutral because you don't want to be controlled. First of all, you don't want to be controlled by your emotions. Um, but there is no such thing as good or bad. Like you have to get out of that duality thinking.